I'm reading the topic from the Hindu editorial, 18th July 2025. The parameters of success in Bihar's poll roll revision. It is written by former election commissioner and Union Finance Secretary of India, Ashok Lavasa. The article goes like this. Measuring success is complicated. Assessing the impact of one's action can even be more challenging. The desire to be successful is different from the desperation to demonstrate success. Stakeholders have different yardsticks for measuring performance, depending on their interest, leaving the vital question, how does one measure one's own success? The Election Commission of India could perhaps be in a trilemma in the wake of its June 24, 2025 announcement of its special intensive revision of electoral rolls in Bihar, caught among the political parties, citizen, the judiciary and its own conscience. Once again, an avoidable imbroglio responding to judiciary's question arising out of justified anxiety of millions of electors, valid apprehensions of neutral observers and unverified suspicion of political interest groups. The Election Commission of India embarked on a seemingly laudable and perfectly legal exercise to purify electoral rolls, declaring its resolve to include all eligible and exclude ineligible persons. The underlying assumption was that some ineligible people had infiltrated the electoral rolls, escaping detection during its due process of documentary and physical scrutiny that electoral registration officers carry out before listing anyone in the electoral rolls. Even the mandatory periodic revision could not filter them out over the years. No one could possibly object to these efforts, however formidable the task. Yet, Election Commission of India found itself facing a barrage of opposition from the political parties and civil society organizations for undertaking this mammoth exercise and imposing an impossible demand on clueless citizens in Bihar as they prepare to exercise their most powerful right of electing their representative. It is akin to asking for a marriage certificate after years of happy married life with children as a proof of legal union. An institution of repute. To be sure, if there is one organization in the country that is capable of carrying out gigantic exercises, it would without doubt be the Election Commission of India. From preparing the first electoral rolls in 1950s in trying circumstances, to updating the rolls necessitated by reorganization of states in 1965 when it was suggested that the term of House be extended to allow the Election Commission of India enough time to revise the rules. Election Commission of India did not want a constitutional amendment because of its inability to complete a mandatory requirement that lived up to the challenge. Since then, it has repeatedly demonstrated its capabilities in handling mega tasks with astounding success. Whether it is enrolling 1 billion people or setting up 1 million polling stations, mobilizing over 18 lakh polling officials for conducting elections and training them, or dealing with moving 30 lakh electronic voting machines, the Election Commission of India has done it with aplomb, ably supported by the government machinery. In the process, it has earned the gratitude of an entire country and the envy of democracies across the world. Countries that have the spirit but not the systems have often looked upon the Election Commission of India as a model in creating standard operating procedure, in galvanizing resources, and its effective conciliative approach in building consensus among political parties. This has earned the Election Commission of India the trust of voters and imparted it a credibility that has been acknowledged by the media, supported by the civil society organization, and earned it the respect of judiciary. Indeed, some have referred to it as gold standard, denying the cynics who believe that all that glitters is not gold. The Bihar exercise. It is in this backdrop that a sudden announcement by the Election Commission of India to carry out a purge of Bihar electoral rolls has invited unpleasant reaction. As opponents question the ECI's motives of raising the spectre of mass disenfranchisement, the Election Commission of India is in overdrive trying to demonstrate the ease with which this apparently unwieldy operation involving nearly 8 crore registered voters in Bihar is being completed. Meanwhile, it has eased some stringent procedure, allowing those enrolled in 2003 to use the entries of their parents in 2003 electoral rolls to support their citizenship claims. It has also allowed booth level officers to accept enumeration forms without the prescribed documents to prove the eligibility of post-2003 electors. The relaxation by ECI obviously ramped up the daily submission of the enumeration forms, giving the ECI the basis for claiming success of its operation and the support of affected electors. This supposedly would deflate the clamor of complainants and perhaps convince the higher judiciary the political sound and the fury signifies nothing. It, however, remains unclear how the booth level officers will recommend for inclusion in the draft roll such electors whose forms were not accompanied by documents, and how electoral registration officer, assistant electoral registration officer decides their eligibility in the absence of those documents. Will the ECI ask such electors to provide the proof of their eligibility citizenship after the draft roll is published on August 1? If it agrees to expand the list of prescribed documents as suggested by the Supreme Court of India to consider Aadhaar card, electoral photo identity card or EPIC and ration card, will it not simply amount to the verification of identity, not citizenship? Are we then not back to square one? Will the indicator of ACI success be the number of duly filled forms submitted along self-attested documents and the electors readmitted to the rolls that were supposed to be purified? Or will its success be the number of ineligible electors disenfranchised? Those who are dead, those who have migrated or who have enrolled twice should have been weeded out in normal course. Did their exclusion warrant this extraordinary exercise on presumption of citizenship? By ascribing presumption of citizenship to electors in 2003 list, is the Election Commission of India claiming that after its current special intensive revision, all those in the electoral rolls will be accepted by government as citizen as in the Citizenship Act, and no one's credentials will hereafter be questioned? Is the government willing to accept this presumption? No individual is responsible for being born where she is, not for creating documentary evidence of the date and place of her birth. No individual is responsible for being born where she is, not for creating documentary evidence of the date and place of her birth, parentage and citizenship. No individual is responsible for being born where she is, not for creating documentary evidence of the date and place of her birth, parentage or citizenship. The authority empowered by the law is like many countries. India too has law under which it is not the ECI that is designated as the competent authority, at least not as yet. However broad the ECI shoulders are, they may not be strong enough to carry someone else's burden. Let us see for whom the bell tolls in Bihar.